Hey everybody, welcome to another Media Boss Live. I am Dr. Barrett Matthews. I apologize for starting a little late today. Had some things come up, but I'm here. I'm here. So welcome. For those of you who are here, don't know what this is. This is Media Boss Live, and what I am here to do is to help you to with my 5 days of media strategies to help you so you can act now on them. So that's what we want to do: get you going, moving now on some media strategies, and hopefully we can do. We've been doing this now for quite some time with Media Boss Live, but we've been doing the 5 days of media strategies for just a few weeks now, and it's a little bit fun. I enjoy it, so I get to share with you. I get to engage you. I'm loving the engagement I'm getting, and I want to say thank you. So who am I? For those of you who don't know, I'm Dr. Barrett Matthews of Media Boss Pro, and what we're doing is we are turning high achieving leaders into industry icons by using media to leverage it so that we can make it so they can be everywhere all at once. So if you are a high achiever in business, in sports, coaching, athletics, whatever, if you're in business, a high achiever, CEO or C-suite exec, and you know that you need to brand yourself to get your name out there so people will know who you are, and you want to use media to do so, holler at us. Give us a call. We're at MediaBossPro.com. That's www.mediabosspro.com. Set up an appointment with us. We would love to talk to you and see how we can help do that for you and turn you into that go-to person that people come to because they know that you're everywhere all at once. Now, what we've been doing over the last few weeks has been going over some different themes on what we want to talk about when it comes to the media and how to use it and so forth. And before we get into today's topic or theme, so to speak, I want to urge everyone here: make sure you're streaming this. Make sure that you are sharing this with everyone. Let everyone know that they can get a hold of Media Boss Live. Let everyone know that you are listening to Media Boss Live. And make sure you check us out on YouTube and subscribe. Subscribe. We love subscriptions. We love that. So we want to make sure that you guys are doing that as well. And also, what we love is comments. We love comments, questions, likes, all of those. So make sure that you let us know that you're listening to us. Let us know you're watching us. Let us know that you're paying attention. If you got something that you feel you can use, put it in the chat. Let everyone know that you're there and that you want to learn from that. So this week, what we've been talking about for businesses is creating a documentary. That's right, creating a documentary about your business, showing people why you do it, why you're doing what you're doing, and why they should want to pay attention to you. Because it's different than doing marketing, where we're just how do I put it? We're trying to get people to buy something or buy into it. Whereas when you're doing a documentary, you want them to not buy into the product or your service, you want them to buy into you, your company, the soul of it, what it's all about, to find out what goes on, what helped create this. And we talked about the opportunities of either doing a documentary or even a docu-series. So you have options and when you're doing that. So we went over those, and I hope you guys got something out of it. I hope it's something you can use. So today we're going to be talking about planning and pre-production, and some of the things that you're going to need when you're doing your planning and your pre-production for your documentary. There's a lot of P's there, huh? So I'm glad I didn't say podcast. Huh? So for your documentary, we're talking about that. So the first thing is you need to outline your story. We remember on day number one we talked about telling your story. Well, before you do that, you want to outline your story. So I think this is me. I think your outline should be very detailed. It should go over a lot of different things that you want to bring up in that documentary. And when it comes to your story, what are some events that have happened in your life that really shaped who you are? What are events that have shaped who your company is? What are events that may have shaped a customer experience? So some things like that that you want to put into your documentary, because these are the things that appeal to someone, their heart, their mind. These are the things that are appealed to them. So you have to know how to get those things triggered, because that's going to determine whether someone's going to work with you or even wants to work with you or not. Then we want to talk about as we talk about those key events, what were the turning points? You know what I'm saying? What was that transition moment that made you go, okay, this has to go differently now? What was that turning point? And once again, it could be something in your life, it could be something in your business. Because understand, from a consumer standpoint, I need to be able to relate to you. So I'll give you an example. I was listening to a podcast this morning, and a gentleman was talking about some things that he had done early on in life in business that he'd failed in. And he was so glad that he got a chance to fail that badly, that early, because he learned some lessons from it. And he changed the way he did things from there. So why is that fascinating? Because when I was young, had some failures. And I could relate to him. You understand what I'm saying? I could relate to him. So because I could relate to him, I said, I can pay more attention to him. This is what I want to get across to you. When you're doing your documentary, you want to have those turning points so that people can realize, you know what, they did it, I can turn to. And then, of course, the most important thing, when you because turning points can usually bring people down sometimes. Sometimes there's some trying times that do that. But you got to bring them back up. You cannot leave them there. You have to bring them back up. Has to have some type of resolution to let them know, okay, it turned out okay. It turned out all right. So when you talk about those turning points, I know a lot of people, they tell their story and they think that the key is, get them crying, get them emotional. No. I know people that teach this to get them to where they're so down with you, so then they'll buy from you. No, they'll just be down. You have to bring them back up. You have to bring them back up. And let me point this out to you. You don't have to bring them down either. Okay? A turning point can be trying, but it doesn't have to be depressing. I need to make sure you understand that. It doesn't have to be depressing. But once you have that turning point, you have to still take them up, because people aren't going to buy from you. They're not going to buy into you on a low level. You have to bring some energy, make them know that this is going to make you happy. Nobody aspires to be sad. Nobody wants to be angry. People want to be happy. They want to be inspired. They want to be uplifted. That's what they want to do. It's just a human nature. So if you take them down and you leave them down, down goes your income. Down goes your business, down goes your branding, so forth and so on. You get the point. So make sure that you bring them up again. So that's outlining your story. The next part is budgeting. So you're doing a documentary. Budget for it. Budget for it. Make sure that you're putting the funds aside for the resources that you're going to need. And what I mean by that is, because keep in mind, you're doing it yourself. Now, like I said, if you want someone doing it for you, you contact MediaBossPro.com. We can handle that. But if you're doing it yourself, you're going to need equipment. You're going to need equipment. You're going to need film equipment, camera equipment, lighting equipment, reflectors, so forth, microphones. You're going to need all of that. And even more, because you're going to have all that stuff put together so it looks like in a nice package at the end of it. You might need a crew. So with that being said, how many people you're going to need? Who is going to do what? What is their expertise? Have you vetted them? Have you looked into it? All of these things. You're going to need to make sure that you have the funds allocated for that. Is there going to be travel? That's a big one. Do you have to travel? So here's the question. Keep in mind, if you're doing your documentary yourself, do you have to travel to show where your business started? Are you going to need to take the crew with you? Are you going to need to schedule that? These are all things that you have to budget for. And then, once you've shot it, and Once again, if you're taking a crew, you may have to feed them and so forth and so on. These are all in the budget. Post production. Who's editing? Who's putting everything together in a nice package and bow for you? How are you going to take care of that? And who are you getting it to do that? So these are all things that go into just one step of your documentary production. So your budgeting is important. So once again, you have to make sure you have the money set aside for your equipment. Like I said, some people even use, my team, we use drones. You have to have all of that stuff. The crew, make sure you have the crew in place and make sure you check them out that they can do the work. Some of them can double dip on some things to save you some money. Travel. Do you have the travel ready, expenses ready? Are you ready for that? And then post production. Are you ready to make sure that after you do all of that, that you're ready to put it all together? So that's budgeting. The next thing I want to talk about is research. Research. You have to be thorough with your research because you want to make sure that you have accuracy in what you're putting out there. The one thing I cannot stand, oh gosh, it drives me nuts, is when I see someone put out something and they didn't verify it, they didn't fact check it. And so you can find a lot of different angles to your story if you research things, but you have to research. You don't have to do the cookie cutter way of presenting it if you've done research because you know so many things about that particular topic. But if you've done no research and you're just going on what you think you know, sometimes what you think you know can get you into a world of trouble. So please, 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 please research what you're putting out there. Another thing, remember we talked about travel? Well, you don't always have to travel necessarily, but you do want to make sure that you scout out your location. You want to make sure you scout out your location. Choose a location that appeals to the eyes. And here's another point, a location that is relevant to your brand. Let me give you, and to your narrative, let me give you an example. Let's say I'm doing a documentary on a retired football player, which I actually may be doing soon. So let's say I'm doing a documentary on a retired football player. It doesn't do me any good, really, to have it set up on a volleyball court where I'm talking to him. No, he's a football player. I don't need to be on a volleyball court. Doesn't do me any good to have it set up on a patio restaurant. He's a football player. So if I'm doing that, I need to make it appeal to what we're talking about. So when you do your location scouting, make sure that you keep that in perspective. It needs to be relevant. It needs to be interesting and appealing to the eye. Another thing I want to point out, when you're doing location scouting, make sure that it's something that you can do. Some places don't allow you to do any filming at certain locations. So make sure that you take that into consideration. And the last area I want to talk about today is scripting. So you want to write out your script for your interviews you're going to be doing with people in your documentary. You want to write out your script for any voiceovers you want to do, and any scenes that you're planned out that you're going to serve as a guide during your filming. So you want to have that all scripted out, and you want to be meticulous about that. And it should sound natural. It should sound free flowing, but I say scripted so that you're not winging it, because when you're winging it, it sounds like you're winging it, but you don't want to sound too scripted either, because it sounds like you're too scripted if you do so. And sometimes it doesn't hurt to get any help on that. So that if you're not good at that, get some help with it. And once again, if you do need help, MediaBossPro.com. MediaBossPro.com is who we are. And I welcome you guys to work with us. We would love to have you. Once again, we're done for the day. I want to have you guys share this with everyone you know. Please share this with people you know. Make sure that you are subscribing to us on YouTube. We'd love to have you. Leave your comments, leave your questions. I will get back to you. I look forward to hearing from all of you. Please do that as well. And don't forget, the Media Boss Masterclass is coming. So MediaBossMasterclass.com, MediaBossMasterclass.com, September 23rd. I'm looking forward to seeing all of you there. Get registered now. If you register in the next few days, I have a special gift for you. So register in the next few days at MediaBossMasterclass.com. I'm looking forward to seeing you. And as I always say, you are someone special because you are God's vessel. I'll see you next time on Media Boss Live.